What does living your purpose look like for you? As I've explained in the previous video, my concept or understanding of everyone's purpose is to help others, to serve others, to help others become better versions of themselves by the expertise and experience and information and education that we've accumulated throughout our years of life and passing that on so it helps other people live a less sufferable life. And how I apply that to my life is I try my best to educate myself with obviously a lot of mental health or a lot of mental mentalities, attitudes, personal development kind of stuff. I try and educate myself as much as I can and become, in a sense, an expert in this kind of field because I want my life to be less sufferable than what it is, and I want it to be the best version of myself. I want to become the best version of myself, and then I want to pass that information on in concepts that's easy to understand for people so that they can then apply it to their lives and live a less sufferable life. I want them to live a life that is they can look back on and say, I enjoyed that. Sure, it was tough. There were times where I found it really tough and difficult and I struggled. But it was those times that made it well worth it because I became a better version of myself every time I went through a struggle, every time I went through a difficulty, every time I went through a hard place. I was able to grow. I was able to see myself and where I was weak and where I was need strengthening. And I applied that and I learnt from that and grew. And I was then able to pass that on to other people and I'm able to provide for other people, able to serve them so that they could take a step up in their lives and in turn then help others as they walked along their journey and into their future of life. So I kind of see it as, I'm on my journey and I've learned and tripped over, let's say, some stones or tripped over some logs, tripped over things, especially in the dark, tripped over things I couldn't see. But once I was able to look back and go, hang on, that was my doing. I wasn't aware. I wasn't paying attention enough. And then once I learn that and apply that to my life and grow and become a better version of myself because I can see where I'm falling short and I'm able to then go, okay, I see it's coming up. I know how I'm going to behave or how I'm going to react. Let's try and change that response. Let's try a different way to perceive this thing that I'm seeing or this situation that I'm seeing and try and, in a sense, seek the kingdom of God. Try and find a better perception of it, a better understanding of it so that then I can approach it a whole lot better with a whole lot more understanding of what's going on and being able to change the direction and not trip over the log. I'm able to climb over the log or move it out of the way or even go around it. Find different ways to minimize the suffering that this, in a sense, log or this hurdle in my life is going to bring. And usually it's change of attitude, change of mindset, change of perception, change of approaching the situation. And once I've learnt from that experience, even though I still have like a whole pathway or a whole journey obviously ahead of me that's going to have further tripping stones, I've learnt something from that current situation that I can then pass on that knowledge onto the people beside me, walking beside me. In a sense, I don't see people or me competing against people or comparing myself to people. I see myself on a journey and others are on their journeys as well. Yeah, sure, some are ahead of me, some are behind me, but some are beside me. But I can help those ones that are beside me and the ones that are behind me. And I can say, hey, this is the approach that I took to the situation. Sure, our situations are going to be completely different or might be similar, but you can still apply, in a sense, the concepts of challenging yourself, getting uncomfortable, try and push your comfortable boundaries, or because you're going to try something new, you're going to try a different way of trying something, right? Or even if we're grieving, in a sense, if they're grieving, I can be like, hey, I can sit with you in this. Sometimes it's just we need someone to sit with us in the grieving, not say anything or not give advice, but just to listen and just to be there. And that helps us process the grieving, in a sense, process. Able to process it a lot more efficiently rather than going, I'm lost, I don't have a guide or I don't have someone to sort of navigate me or even just to sit here with me to let me know that I'm not alone. When we do it alone, we struggle through that grieving process a whole lot more. Whereas when we interdependently be with someone and know that someone's there looking out for us for our well-being, then we're able to process the grief a whole lot more efficiently. I'm not saying that it, might be shorter, but the efficiency of wrapping our heads around the grief will be a lot more efficient, a lot more substantial in our souls, in a sense, so that when a second grieving or the next grieving after that comes along, we then can go, okay, I've gone through this, in a sense, grieving process before, maybe not for the same person or the same, pet or anything, but I understand where I'm going to start thinking negatively, or where, start to pitfall, and I know how to pick myself back up. I can see where I'm going. I can see where the thought patterns are going. I can change them. I can choose by choice, change the direction of my thought patterns and the process of that. I can even ask a friend to come and sit with me when I feel that I'm going into this dark spiral. We can learn and adapt from our experiences. And then we can, like I said, pass on that information, and we're not all on the same journey, but we're all human. All, in a sense, emotions are universal. We all experience grief. We all experience sadness. We all experience anger. We all experience frustration. We all experience happy, joy. We all have these emotions because they're all universal. And we can pass on, in a sense, knowledge or even understanding of how to deal with those emotions to each other. And that's how we can then progress forward individually, but also collectively as a community. And as we do that, that's serving each other. We're being there for each other. We're being patient for each other. And we're all serving one another to, in a sense, survive this life. Because no one gets out alive. I love that saying. No one gets out alive. No one pulls through this life alive. We all eventually pass away. And we always want to look back on our lives and go, did I live my life to the fullest? Did I live it selfishly and empty because no one was there to experience it and share it with me? Or did I actually give my all to the people around me so that they could live a much less sufferable life? And that we all put in effort together to make our lives comfortable as it best it can be, and enjoyable. Did we laugh? Did we cry together? Did we have an argument but be able to come together and retribute it or redeem ourselves, in a sense? Were we able to forgive each other? Were we able to really feel the fullness of life, the full emotions of the full, in a sense, grief and happiness? Or did we just pass by and not really take, in a sense, any risks of being vulnerable and just protect ourselves and just selfishly live for ourselves? How did you live your life? How are you living your life day by day? Are you living it to the fullest for yourself and for others? Not just for yourself and not just for others. There needs to be a balance, obviously, of both of the parties, in a sense, participating, not just one getting the full, and, in a sense, energy and effort. Both yourself and the parties have to be served. And that's what living my purpose looks like. King up.